Hello. Knowing history correctly shows the future. Today, let's briefly look at Syngman Rhee's doctoral dissertation. The title of the dissertation Syngman Rhee submitted to Princeton University was Neutrality as Influenced by the United States. Although it was a dissertation on international law, it was also related to history, political science, and economics due to the nature of the topic. Pastor Lee Ho mentions that it was a very unusual dissertation that received joint approval from these three departments. The dissertation argued that trade must continue even during war, and that the commercial rights of neutral countries must be respected. Syngman Rhee had previously argued in The Spirit of Independence, written in prison, that the country should open up and trade. This open-minded aspect was also evident in his doctoral dissertation, according to a presentation by Professor Jung Sub from Seoul National University Law School at the 2019 Syngman Rhee Forum. Syngman Rhee's doctoral process was introduced as follows. In the first semester of 1908 at Princeton, Rhee took courses in international law and diplomacy. Professor Elliott, the history of the U.S. Constitution up to the collapse of the Federalist Party. Professor McElroy, and the history of philosophy. Professor Ormond. In the spring semester of 1909, he took the history of philosophy. Professor Ormond and the history of the U.S. Constitution after the collapse of the Federalist Party. Professor McElroy, and international law and diplomacy. Professor Elliott. In the fall semester of 1909, he took U.S. history from 1789 to 1850. Professor McElroy and international law. Professor Elliott. He also took the doctoral qualifying exams, and only attended theology classes during the winter semester. In the spring semester of 1910, he spent most of his time in the library, focusing on his doctoral dissertation. The title of the dissertation, as mentioned earlier, was Neutrality as Influenced by the United States, and it dealt with the development of the wartime neutrality system in international law. Professor Jung Sub mentions that Rhee found the written and oral qualifying exams very difficult, and had distressing memories of them. Pastor Lee Ho emphasizes the level of the dissertation by mentioning that Syngman Rhee's dissertation was published as a book by Princeton University in 1912. The fact that the university made it into a book indicates that it was recognized for its academic level and importance. Furthermore, when the issue of neutrality on the high seas became prominent, with the outbreak of World War I, Syngman Rhee was often mentioned as an outstanding authority on neutrality. President Wilson of the United States even cited Rhee's dissertation. Pastor Lee Ho also conveys Professor Jung Sub's evaluation of Rhee's dissertation translated into Korean. As a translator who majored in international law in graduate school, I felt a strange sense of pride that our country's first president, and the first holder of a modern doctoral degree, received his doctorate on the subject of international law. Moreover, I was surprised that the dissertation was published as a monograph by the Princeton University Press. Even in this era flooded with English, writing in a foreign language is difficult, and it is astonishing that someone educated in the late Joseon period, which could be compared to the primitive era in terms of foreign language, was able to publish an academic book in the United States. A person named Lee Han-woo evaluates Syngman Rhee as follows: how many politicians who have built their careers on such academic achievements are there, not only in Korea but also worldwide? Graduation day finally arrived. What should have been a day of joy for Syngman Rhee, who completed in 5 years what takes many Americans over a decade, was not joy but sorrow. Can you guess why? It was because that graduation day coincided with the annexation of Korea by Japan in 1910. In such a situation, how would Syngman Rhee, who had just received his doctorate, be used for the benefit of our country? That's all for today. Knowing history correctly shows the future. We have briefly looked at Syngman Rhee's doctoral dissertation. The photo on the screen is the cover of the dissertation, published as a book by Princeton University. It's remarkable that Syngman Rhee's dissertation, which was respected by President Wilson of the United States and many American elites, was published as a book by the university authorities. Isn't it amazing that our founding president was such a figure? It seems like a new discovery for South Korea. What do you think? Don't you feel proud?